snug. Get snug. Get comfy. Yay!
Yeah!
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Andsoph podcast. We are here for the season finale. We made it to the end. We have a very special guest today, and we're also sitting outside. The bugs are with us, but it's for the ambiance. Sadly, they were with us on my podcast for ordinary people with extraordinary impacts. In the final episode, I wanted to interview somebody who actually has similar interests and passions as me, because I feel like I've been interviewing artists on here, a lot of different people, which you are an artist as well, but you're also a filmmaker, you're film girly. One of my childhood friends, Alex, is a creative and she creates films. She's a really great singer. We've been friends for about 14 years now. I did the math.
Wow.
So like when we were like 5th grade, or I was 5th grade. You were like 4th grade. So we're, yeah. So thanks for coming on the podcast, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'm excited.
So pleased to be here.
Oh, we're going to be talking about growing up together in the same church. It was a canon event.
I fear, yes.
Yes. And then I'm going to be talking to you just about like how you've healed and grown as a storyteller and like someone who's grown in your confidence, come to taking charge, and lastly of just like keeping your well-being in check, trying to be in the film industry. We're gonna get into it today, so I hope you stay tuned for Alex's story and that you learn more about her. First, I wanted to ask you what you think is like your favorite core memory of us growing up together.
Well, we were just talking about this. It was a sleepover that we had with our sisters, and we watched an episode of Psych. But we were like traumatized from this one episode of Psych where the guy, like the victim, is found dead in like a washer and dryer, and it was a whole spinoff of like The Shining. And we were so scared that I think we had to like stop watching it.
Thanks for reminding me of those sweet memories of us. I love it.
I'm gonna haunt you. I'm just gonna pull up to your house and like hide in the washer one day.
With a ukulele. That's
Finding
terrible.
you in the water.
I feel like that's something Megan would do.
Probably.
Ironically.
Megan would Megan would hide in the washer, I feel like.
She would.
Like, while we're playing hide and seek, Megan just goes into the washer. Best hiding spot.
I'm literally like, forget the outfit I'm putting.
But it's like orange though. We got the orange chairs. It's almost
aesthetic.
autumn.
It's almost autumn.
Almost fall, shall I say?
Shall we say autumn? We actually were having a really great conversation in the car until 2:30 in the morning, which we can't get into all of that.
Yeah.
But it was like just about our experiences of growing up in church together. What did like following God kind of look like to you before?
Performative. Part of me had this like religious guilt about how, I'm not a good Christian because I didn't like go and talk to like 12 random people at the grocery store about following Jesus, even though I was literally like 14 years old. And it was like almost like a competition sometimes, like in D group. It's like, well, how many people did you evangelize? And it's like, I did 25. And it's like, okay, how many cards did you pass out? I passed out 30, and I passed them all out to like people in the homeless shelter. And then it's like, okay, Alex, how about you? And I'd be like, I mean, like, I gave it to like my friend. And then you would just get stares. Like your love and devotion to God could be measured by mere numbers. And I think it proved to be a problem like later in life and stuff, especially when you like become a disciple.
That's real. And I feel like I felt that like that guilt kind of with like following some of the rules. I feel even when like I mentioned like purity culture in here too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a whole other podcast. I felt that pressure too when I was younger to kind of like let me not do anything wrong, because I think that expectation was that when we were in high school we were gonna start getting curious and be like, I want a boyfriend, like I'm interested in sex, and like they were like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I think like a lot of it for me was like body image. Like we talked about how as women, and especially as, you know, women whose extremities might be a little bit larger than others, it just
God forbid he gave us bodies that are T.
Exactly. Like
I
God
used to tell my mom, I'm like, it's not my fault they built like a pancake, a cereal box, and I'm not.
God decided to put the extra planets on me instead of the galaxy. I would like exchange shirts and stuff, or like we would borrow clothes from like, for example, my cousins and whatnot. And it would always not be like a question about like, oh, you're fine. And then it's like I would be pulled over wearing the same exact shirt and they're just like, oh, like that shirt's like a little too tight on you. Like we can see a lot. And I'm just like, okay, so is like what you're, and as a kid, it's hard to gauge like what the intent behind people's words are because you're a child. Like you don't know that
Yeah.
stuff. You don't know like what the true meaning behind everything is. So it's like for me as a kid, I'm just like, so you're telling me to like hide myself essentially. And it translates as like, oh, my body is a sin. We talk about like God created you in his image. So it's like, what the frick is that supposed to mean? Is God's body a sin? Like that's it's contradictory. And so I feel like a lot of it created this deep rooted insecurity. Number one, that like my body was sinful, which is just like in and of itself like like you said, a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But another one was just like all men view me sexually, and it's not just the people that I don't know, it's like the people in my life. And so that created like a whole, and I've talked to people about this before, where it strained a lot of like relationships because it's like, oh, don't hug men the regular way
From the
because
front.
yeah, because your boobs will be touching them and
Side
they'll just
hug.
be thinking about your boobs. And so I'm just like, all men are thinking that
about my
way.
boobs.
So
When
it's
I
like
give them a hug.
yeah, so it's like, what about like my teen leaders that I hug regularly? I chose to hide that part of me for years in high school until I finally left the ministry and realized that like I am not defined by my body. Like if they can't see past that, that is not my responsibility. And I just felt like that was so degrading towards women in general. I felt like it's just a huge like system, like patriarchal system that had to be torn down in the church in order to be built back up again. But it's like, you know, a lot of it is rooted in, you know, be submissive. I'm completely fine wearing like a bathing suit to the beach, right? But it's like, I know that there's a part of me that if I wear that stuff in front of people in the church, like I feel like I'm failing them or like I'm afraid of judgment, which is I think the biggest part because I've always just received so much judgment based on like my bathing suit pictures and whatnot. So it's just like I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wear this in front of them because they're gonna think that I'm like a hoe. Oh my gosh, like they're gonna think I'm literally like crazy. Yeah, it's a part of me is still like deeply insecure, but it's come to the point where it's like I'm not gonna let that dictate my life. That's pretty much it.
She's growing and glowing.
Oh, I like that.
I'm grateful you acknowledge that it's still like a struggle because I was like, I felt the same. Like I'm still like unlearning a lot of things. Like yes, we've grown, but there's still moments where we're like, I'm hesitant. Like you feel like someone's still like tapping you on the shoulder. And I've been like learning of like, what would my life look like if it was free of like that shame and that guilt that I've carried? Like, what would I do? And I was like at a loss for words as you're going through your own journey with God, where you're still connected with God, but your relationships with church has kind of changed. There's been like a lot of people that have like similar walks where they are still connected with God, but like they don't feel that pressure to kind of be a part of organized religion anymore if it's genuinely like harming them. So I was wondering for you, like what's been the most helpful for you now to like be your most authentic self in your relationship with God?
That's a really interesting question because I feel like I've had this discussion with like multiple people who's obviously dealt with like the entire idea of religion being deconstructed like right in front of their faces, and they're having like a bit of an identity crisis because they centered a lot of their identity through church. I think most of it therapy.
Yeah.
Like point blank, a lot of the trauma that you experience, like it's gonna be therapy. But when it comes to like my personal relationship with God, I told you about this. It's the Bema podcast, and I would recommend this to anyone struggling because it delves deep into like how it's actually supposed to be read. And one of the really interesting things that helped me realize like, oh, it's not God, like it's people, like it's organized religion. It's like the hierarchies of like being a pastor and like all that stuff. was them breaking down the story of Abraham and like the sacrificing of his son, which to me as a kid, I'm just like, they speak of like love and Jesus like healing people, and then like God's telling you to kill your firstborn child. Like that doesn't even make sense. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm a huge like history buff. I
Yes.
love learning about history. I was like into like the ancient Egyptians for the longest time.
Why did we all go through that era?
I
Of, like,
loved
Mesopotamia.
it. Exactly, bro. They had like the mummy exhibit at the science center, and I
You're like-
mummified a carrot.
You mama. Yes.
Yes. Like I was always confused. And I get it. Old Testament God is some like grumpy old man who just likes to destroy things. But that's what I thought. That's what they teach you.
Yes,
right?
that's what I thought too. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, yes.
And so they broke down the story of like back in the day, let's look at some of the gods that were around during this time. Before like the Abrahamic God, because like this is Abraham. So like we're like we're predating every god essentially, because I also took world religion class and they talk about like there's multiple stories of great floods. Basically it was talking about how like looking at the gods that were around during that time, it was very normal for people to give human sacrifices. Like that was like a
Yes.
deity that people used to worship, like Mesopotamian gods and whatnot. And so basically God was like, sacrifice your firstborn son. And the reason why Abraham didn't really like question it was because it was normal for that time. And so he brings his son up to sacrifice him. And then God takes the time to be like, so you see the thing that I ask you to do that's so normal that you don't even question it, that every other God is asking you to do, I'm taking this chance right now to let you know I'm not going to make you do it because I'm not like other gods. And that just struck a chord with me where I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like it makes so much sense because Jesus comes down and spreading all this message about love. I'm like, this is entirely different from like the Old Testament God that we know, you know? They break down like the whole idea of like Eastern literature versus Western literature and how Eastern literature is very metaphorical. So you have to read between the lines. Same with the Great Flood. Great floods happen. That's like a story that has been told in Hinduism. It's like stuff that predates like the Christian religion, even the Jewish religion. So it's like, oh yeah, this story is not actually a story about God just hating everybody and flooding the earth, trying to start again. He's using a story that has been used before to, in the end, come out and say yet again, I am never going to do this to you because I am not like other gods. So it's like if God's consistent message is like, I'm a loving, kind God that will never make you do what these other gods are asking for, that to me was enough for me to like deconstruct everything that I had been taught and be like, wow, it makes so much sense, because it's like you look around you and sometimes a lot of moments that I have connecting with God is just like living in like the world that is today, and you see so much heinous stuff, but you take a moment to realize like the beauty and the glory of what has been created. And that's enough to make me feel connected, where I'm like, wow, look at these trees, look at these flowers, look at the way that life works, look at how our body works. Like everything is so intentional, but there's like a 1 in 1 billion chance that like your parents meet and that you're like the sperm and the egg that creates you even like succeeds in fertilizing to the point where you actually are born the way that you are. And to me, that was just like everything's so intentional. God is so intentional with the way that he explains things, with the way that he writes things. If we're not like other religions, why are we like making the same mistakes? Like, why are we kind of like mimicking the Romans who crucified Jesus as like now American like conservative Christians? Like what exactly is happening, you know?
I feel like it's so overwhelming to deconstruct Christianity. Like it's like you don't really know where to start sometimes. So it's helpful to have something like that is like a good place to start.
Exactly.
Of like hearing things in a completely different perspective and having like more of an emotional connection versus just like these are the scriptures, like, and this is how it is.
Yes.
Like, don't question it. Versus it invites like curiosity and like I love that, and I love that you're experiencing God just in like everyday life. Yes. Classes in session.
Classes in session, folks. Period.
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 Progression.
Exactly. Growth.
Grow.
Glowing and growing.
Oh, we should get paid for this.
I know. I should, okay? People pay therapists to sit there and listen. No hate, I love my therapist.
I don't know how my therapist does it. Like, every week I'm just like, you will never believe what happens. She's like, this is a
She's
completely
like-
different issue, but got it. Moving right on in, because I still want to talk about your confidence that you've grown, but just now shifting more
Okay.
into you
Yeah.
as a film girly.
Yeah.
Because you've been working on a lot of exciting things recently, which is really
Yes.
cool. I'm
Yes,
living
ma'am.
vicariously through you, queen. I literally
dead.
am. I wanted to hear a little bit more about like what film means to you and what kind of, like, if there was a moment growing up where you realized that it was something that you really liked and you felt like, I have a voice and I want to like contribute my stories and what I have to say too.
I mean,
You're like, I always knew I was a star.
I always knew I was meant to be a star. No, I had always really been like super emotional as like a child. Like I was always seen as the child who like cried over everything. Like I was the crybaby. Even though I feel like I was being gaslit about half of those situations, like I definitely had every valid reason to crash out.
Yeah.
But I obviously see, like, you know, film is an art form and it's a form of self-expression. I talked about this on another podcast, but I did say, like, the reason why I love it so much is it combines all the aspects that I love so much about art, which is like visuals, it's sound, it's music, like every experience, you know, like everyday
Yeah.
life. Because it's like you have a painting, but you can't hear it. You have a song, but you can't see it. It's like, you know, and I think that it's like for the people who are meant to consume that kind of stuff, it gives them an opportunity to have it all blended into like one. First kindergarten, first grade, second grade, they were like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow older? And I was like, I want to be a director. And they're like, why do you want to be why do you want to be this? And I said, because I want to boss people around to get me coffees. Which I didn't even drink coffee at that age, but
OMG.
I just like, that's what I had observed from being on set, and my dad thought it was the funniest thing ever.
That is
But like I had always like been, I love movies. Like as a kid, I love movies. I love watching them. It's such like a magical experience for me. And when I was applying to like middle schools, obviously I went to Milliken. Shout out Milliken.
Shout out
That's
Milliken.
no longer Milliken. It's called Louis Armstrong Middle School now. They renamed it, but
because the person was evil.
I don't know. Maybe. I think he was racist or something.
Oh god.
And it was like an art school, and then they had a cinematic arts academy, and it had just been started, and I was like, that sounds very interesting. So I actually applied to both musical theater and cinematic arts academy, and I got into both. But
She was at a crossroads.
see, I love singing, I love acting. Never really did it as a kid. My sister was the one who was like a musical theater nerd. Shout out Izzy.
Shout out Izzy.
Shout out Izzy, who will be famous soon.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully. I joined the cinematic arts program, and it taught me so much, and I loved my teacher, and I always tell people like she is the one that I will be like crediting first if I ever win some major award. Like she is like the one who shaped my like passion for film. I was like always coming up with crazy ideas, and I came up with this one idea where it's like this girl and her sister are playing ball. Oh my god, this is so crazy revisiting this. And the younger sister runs out into the road and dies getting hit by a car. So he's like, where are we going with this? After that, she's like dealing with the grief of her sister, and she can't quite like cope with it, and then just like wakes up and is like, it's all a dream. And then like, but then at the end, the sister's like, you kind of hint that like she's not really there.
Oh my god, I'm sad.
So
Girl, I was
this
gonna say
grade-
in middle school.
Yeah.
That's profound though. I love that story.
Which is, we're gonna get really deep here a second. Sorry.
It's okay.
You're already sad.
Let's go there.
I had like always experienced death from like a young age. So like I think in second grade, my uncle died from I think it was an overdose, and so seeing that as like a kid was crazy because I always had this image of like my dad in my mind where he's like this very steadfast figure in my life who like he's the one who like doesn't cry about anything, right?
Yeah.
Which apparently I was just wrong about that. My mom's like, he cries about everything. What are you talking about, Alex? But I was like, okay, I didn't see that as a kid.
Wow.
And And to see him deal with, like, grapple with the death of his brother was, like, really hard for me, obviously, to cope with when I was that young. And I didn't really, like, know my uncle. But the story goes is that, you know, he was addicted to drugs. And so he finally was supposed to be, like, rehabilitated. And I was going to meet him for the first time on Christmas when I was in, yeah, like second or third grade. And I was so excited, like so excited. I had heard so much about him. I Skyped him on the Christmas party that we had, or it was like we had a bunch of people over and I was so excited. And we talked on Skype and I was like, I'm so excited to meet you, Uncle Mark. And the story is like, you know, he was addicted to drugs. So my parents like kept him away because there's a situation that happened with my sister. And then he passed, like, literally right after we had this Skype call. And so it was, like, so hard for me. I didn't really know how to feel about it. And obviously, I was sad, but I was like, but I didn't know him. So, like, why am I so sad, you know? And so then I think after middle school, or maybe I think it was during middle school, where my grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she eventually she like almost died the first time, where it's like her heart stopped. She was like literally not breathing for like a minute before she just like came back. And we thought it was a miracle and whatnot. And we thought that like we had gotten rid of the cancer, but she didn't want to do chemo and she was taking this medication and then she stopped and then it came back and it came back even worse. And so she eventually passed from it too. So like I was constantly, I think, surrounded by death. I lost a lot of like great grandparents and family friends and whatnot. And so for me to be able to like express like the process of grief, kind of like it's like, oh, like the memory of someone or like the possibility of like what could have been is what I'm mourning, rather than like the actual relationship that I had with them was something I feel like came across. And I didn't even realize this until I was older. I was just like, oh, it's a story about a girl dying. And my mom's always like, oh, why are you always talking about death? You're crazy, right? But I think that was like me at the time, like what was just on my mind.
Yeah.
And it was something that I just felt so like seen through, because when I was younger, none of the people around me, I felt like understood my experience, because it's like you're young. And like even up until high school, a lot of my friends still had all their grandparents, they still had all their uncles and aunts. Like none of them had really experienced like death like I had. And so when I saw people like connect with the short film that I had made, I think that it was like a process in which, wow, I feel so understood. It's an awkward thing to deal with when you're younger, and nobody
Wow.
really ever talks about it. So, yeah.
Wow. That's a beautiful story. The
Beautiful.
lights just came on after that. No, I really love that you shared that though, because I was like, I feel the same way. Like when, like in college, when I got into like screenwriting and stuff, I was also going through like grief as well. And I remember like I had to keep going with school. They were just like, okay, like your project is due.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could think about to write was about like death
Yeah.
and grief. And I had written this like really dark story about like these two friends, and this one of them was like really struggling. And he just didn't know how to like express that to the friend. And like in the end, he like never got to that point of being able to share it with them. And by the time they had realized, it was like too late. And I was like, looking back at that now, I'm just like, that was a cry for help. Like that was a cry for help. Why did nobody clock that? Like that is so scary.
Yeah.
But that was like how I coped, because I was like writing about like the emotions and stuff like that. And although yes, like people could look at it like how your mom was just like, girl, like why are you writing about that? Like it's kind of like to other people it's like kind of concerning.
Yeah.
But to you it's like it's dark, but it's like it's so raw because it's real, and like it's just how you feel.
Yeah.
And so I remember that like writing those stories really helped me to like just writing about my experiences with that like helped me to better understand like my emotions and like to share that with other people who could also relate in little ways. I love that for us.
Really, we're in the same boat.
we
We're in the same boat. We're
are.
in the same boat. I think it's like that when people cry, like while watching a movie and stuff, like you can evoke such a strong sense of emotion to gain that reaction from someone, it's kind of like therapeutic when you see like a piece of media that relates to your own experience and you share it and someone's able to like have that same sense of emotion because it's like so like, okay, so you understand. Like you understand what it
Not
feels like.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like so
Yeah.
it's like this is like you're not incapable of like being there for me. It's just like you didn't understand. Visual media in general is such an important part of like empathy.
And that's so like great that you get to be like a part of being one of those people that helps people like understand. Now that you're older and you're like finding more of your voice, and we like had our own mini podcast before this talking about like your story. Your stories with like
Witzig.
learning how to like stand up for
Oh
yourself,
yeah.
have boundaries. We love talking about boundaries on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you feel like you like ground yourself when you're like kind of doubting your capabilities to like feel like your voice like matters or feel like your hard work
Mm.
is going to continue to flourish?
The feeling of imposter syndrome is inescapable as a woman in general. Like wherever
Yeah.
you go, it doesn't matter if it's like in a male dominated industry, like wherever you go as a woman, you're always going to feel like you don't belong. But
Yeah.
as like an industry like film, it's hard because I'm always just like I'm not good enough and there's always going to be someone thinking that this mediocre man can do better than I can and I don't feel like that's true. There's always gonna be someone out there that is better than you at what you do. Like there's just always gonna be someone. You can't be the best at everything.
Yeah.
And I think that striving towards being the best is like it has its pros and cons, right? It's great to have motivation to do the best, but to be the best, I think, can get tricky because then you start revolving around like perfectionism, like you talked about. Make it the best that you can do, not the best that everyone can do, the best that you can provide. Because as long as you're doing your best, that's all that matters. Maybe I'm not the best director, maybe I'm not the best writer, but I am my own like person. I'm the only person who has my own mind. So a lot of the ideas I come up with are key around my experience. They're central to my identity and it's like I'm I'm unique. Like focus on my uniqueness. Like being on my first short film set that like had a budget and it's like no, it's not just one person with a DSLR and two actors that are your friends. Like
Right.
we spent a lot of money on like location and
So
we
many
had
people involved.
yeah and it's
Yeah.
like apparently there's a lot of things you can't say as a director which I didn't know. You cannot line read to people, which is a big no-no. You can't tell them how to read it. um you can't use words like, you know, oh, like, and you're gonna be sad. You can't say that apparently, which is like, oh, don't give them like emotional direction, give them like action direction. And I'm just like,
You're like, I'm sick.
okay, but like, hello, like that doesn't. So it was really difficult. Like
A
I
lot of
think
learning.
one of the most difficult parts was we had this really emotional scene where Olivia, my cousin, by the way, shout out, she's a great actress.
Love you.
She was the main actress and she played the role perfectly. She was the easiest and by far the most professional on set and the
Go
best.
off. Yes.
But I had a moment where it's like, I'm gonna do the thing that directors do where they like kick everyone off set and I'm gonna talk to her because it was a really hard scene. Like she's supposed to be finding out that like her whole world is a lie. It's a huge sense of like betrayal and I had to sit there and just like I just like went on for about 10 minutes about like I need you to pull from the deepest depths of you and I need you to think about that and I need you to like portray it. Obviously it wasn't this rudimentary, like I'm not gonna say the things that I said because I was trying to make her feel as horrible as possible.
Wow.
But it was trying to like pull out like her deepest thoughts of like what could be the betrayal that would absolutely destroy her. And I'd be like, whatever that is, I need you, this is that. Like this is that right now. Like put that emotion into this encounter. And I thought that it was great. I thought I loved the scene. She performed so well, but it's like if it was a day earlier, which was my first day on set, I would not have known to say that because it's just how much of a difference does experience make? A ton, right? You're
Yes.
never gonna really know what it's like unless you do it.
Yes.
But I was so insecure. I was like, there's so many people here. No, I've never done this before. Like, what if they think I'm like bad? What if they think what I'm doing is wrong? What if they, I'm so worried about like the judgment and like the watchful eyes. Like, that was so stressful to just be like, all eyes are on me and the actors and whatever I say. Like, what if I say something wrong? What if someone asks me a question and I don't know how to answer it? Like, that is so embarrassing. I was so confident in what I wanted, and I made sure that I was like,
Boom.
this is boom, bah. I had that moment where I walked out of set and cried. Like, it was just so hard because I was so insecure. Like, I just didn't know if this was something. Like, I had that moment where I was like,
am I meant for this?
am I meant for this? Am I cut out for this? Is this what I'm built to do? Like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want it that bad to feel this crappy about it.
Right.
And it's like, you have to kind of let yourself spiral a little bit to be like, okay, time to whip myself back into shape. I'm being stupid right now. Like, get your ass back on set.
And
let's go. People like confidence, not overconfidence. Like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And you don't know. But it's like being confident, in the fact that you're not confident. Like, going up to someone and being like, hey, I don't know what this means. Do you mind explaining it to me? And they'll be like, yeah. Versus like I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. And then you mess it up.
Exactly.
Yes, I love like hearing your like experiences with that, like in your own film that you did, because I remember that was like something that I saw and I was like, wow, she's really like going for it. And I was really proud of you because that's like really difficult to do, especially like for the first time on that scale. And like we were talking about this before we recorded, but like that pressure as well. Like I'm also like a crier, so I would have stepped away too and been like, I can't. But like I love that like you emphasize that confidence comes from like it grows in you when you do something. Like it's not something that you just like feel out of nowhere. Like you have to build it. And you have to be willing to admit that you don't know everything and you need help. Like even in those moments where you had to walk out with somebody, like you couldn't do that by yourself. Like you needed somebody to lean on in those moments. So that's so important. And I see you like thriving in that confidence, like in general. Like I think since like even since I've known you, like and I first have met you, like I've seen you just grow more comfortable in like your own skin and like using your voice and like voicing what you want and what you need and like making your ideas come to life. So I love seeing it and like hearing you talk. I'm like, yes. Like even when you talk about confidence, you're confident, you know? So I love it.
3 years of therapy and thousands of dollars later.
We're here.
I mean, I feel that same way with you too.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's like I remember if we're like calling back to like when we were children, it's like people definitely describe, oh, she's so quiet. And I'm like, what? Sophie quiet? Because we would always be at sleepovers and Sophie's like the craziest one there. But it's like I definitely see like that was true to yourself and like you just hid it from people that you weren't comfortable around. And now that you're older and you feel more confident in your own skin, you've let that part be shown, which I'm just like, that's a freaking win.
Thanks, girl.
Freaking win. I'm like, oh my God, Sophie's starting a podcast and putting herself out on social media and like leading it and like talking to these people. Wow, that's like already a huge, because it's like that is such a step up from like you as a kid, and I feel like your like kid self would be like, oh my God, I did that. Don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like your little kid self is like, oh my God, big Sophie is so cool. Who knew we would be yapping and putting ourselves on the internet?
All these years later.
I
love it. I know when I was like, I was like, I can't believe we're still friends. Like all these years. Not like
I can't believe we're still friends.
Not like I can't believe it. Like I love it.
You said 15 years later and I almost had an aneurysm. I don't even know who I was when I was like
10.
Yeah.
I was an insecure little girl. I was like, let me just follow everybody and I'll get through.
Because in 5th grade I was 9.
Yeah.
No.
Right?
No, I was 10.
Okay.
No.
What? Because, yeah, I think in 5th grade it was like 10.
I graduated high school at 17.
Fun facts.
So 13, 12, 11, 10. Yeah, so I was 10 in 5th grade.
Okay. I'm like, wait, how old was
This
I?
is why I'm
11.
in film and not in a position that requires me to do math.
Right. People who are into my major, they'd be like, oh, I bet you just only have to watch movies all day. That's all you do, huh?
Like,
Right.
No. I was struggling.
Girl, the amount of hours you have to do outside of school is crazy.
I didn't even finish my D's, to be honest.
Oh my God, we didn't even get into that.
What? College?
Yes. Because I feel like when I was in film school, like the bubble of the film program, I didn't realize how different it would be coming out of that. Because in the bubble, it was just like, you know, mess up. It's okay to make mistakes. Everybody put their ideas out there. Everybody say everything, and like everybody gets the opportunity to like put their. So I got a lot of opportunities, but as soon as I left, it was just like, oh, you and thousands of other people want this, babes. I was like curious for you, like how it was to like transition out of that, because I know even though you didn't like finish, you still had like some experience to like kind of get a feel for what it was like to be in college.
Kind of. I mean, COVID was my
Like
senior freshman year, so I didn't really have a freshman year of college, and I left in my sophomore year.
So it was 1 year.
No.
No?
It was a year and like a half. It was a year online and then like a couple months in Chicago before I left.
Oh, wow.
You know the reason why.
Yes, girl.
Get
Awful.
mugged.
If you're watching this, if I see you in the streets, you're done.
If I see you in the streets, you're done.
You're done.
Give me my phone back.
Girl.
I was talking about how the police ruined everything. They were like, this is not worth investigating. Go frick yourself.
Why did they do that?
I don't even know. I waited 2 hours.
Really?
For them to get there. And they were like, sorry.
2 hours? And you were alone?
Yes. Bless the CTA lady. She was literally an angel sent from heaven. And I don't want this to sound weird in any way, shape, or form, but the only people that I would envision coming down from heaven to earth and presenting themselves as humans are black women.
Wow.
That's
everything.
That's the only people I experience as like living, walking angels. Like she literally has never left my mind. She was the sweetest, kindest person. She made me feel so comfortable and like literally never saw her again. I was like, you were literally an angel.
She must have been.
But yeah, she like let me use her phone. I called my dad. My dad called my roommates, and then like we called the police, and like she made a report for me. But like they told me I had to go into the station to make a report, and I was like, I'm not doing all that, sorry. Props to anyone who was able to push through 2021.
That was such an awful year.
The worst year of my life. Because I was taking all my G's. I was making sure to take my G's before I took my classes. So I didn't really do like film. I did like 1 or 2 film classes, and that was it.
Okay.
I did feel like the best that I filmed.
Middle school.
Yeah, and doing my short film. I feel like those are the 2 things that really I learned the most on.
You get the most experience, like you said, when you're actually like doing something. Like my first 2 years of college were just like reading textbooks, essays, like not like the vigorous essays that a lot of other people have to do, but like still they made us write. And then like the GEs. And then my final like 2 years is when I actually got to do like more hands-on things. And then my senior year is when we had our senior thesis film, and that was like the big thing.
Did I tell you? I was like, after I'm done and old and like worked a lot, I would love to become a teacher.
Oh,
a professor. Really? And I always said I would be a professor, and I would be a professor at a public college. Yes. Like a community college, because
they deserve quality education too.
Exactly, like my middle school.
Yeah.
And my teacher, like shout out Miss Bennett, Karen Bennett. Love her to death.
And we need like more like, I feel like sometimes there was like a lack of empathy with some of my professors that I had.
Yeah.
Because they had been in the industry for so long, and they were just like, this is how, and like people would be sharing their stories like about very real deep things, and they'd be like, however, like I feel like it's just not like, it wouldn't be like intriguing enough for them, or they'd be like, it kind of falls flat. And I'm like, they just told you about their dead cousin. What do you mean? The stories. But it's like the way they would approach it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have like a very empathetic heart. and you've been through a lot of life. And
Mhm.
so like your perspectives and you have a lot of knowledge too. So I feel like the blend of that would be really helpful for these other girlies trying to be where you are.
Like, I had some that were super sweet, right?
Same. I had some great professors.
Yeah, but there's one professor, I think I emailed him saying like, "Hey, so my mom's in the hospital and I'm recently dealing with like the loss of like a friend and my cousin and I just need some time." And he's like, "Well, okay, I'll give you like an excuse like for this class, but after that you're going to be absent and it could affect like your cuz I had a scholarship."
Oh, wow.
So he's like, "It could affect your scholarship." And then obviously I didn't go to class the next day, so he was like, what's the reason? Like, you needed valid reason." And I was like,
I gave it to
like
you.
again, and he was like, "Okay, but you need like a doctor's note." I was like, "A doctor's note from my mom's hospital? Are you kidding me? Like, it's not like I'm sick and I'm lying about it. Like,
Yeah.
who would ever like?" Anyways,
Uh,
yeah, but it was I came back, I
Yeah,
healed, I
you
did my
did.
short film, worked a little bit.
you did that.
That was enough to get me back up on my feet.
I was hearing about like your experiences in middle school and stuff, and I was like, I did not like have that or like think seriously about that. Like I should be like looking into this now. Like I was like, let me just like wait.
Yeah.
And then in high school, it was like I kind of took it seriously, but kind of didn't.
Yeah.
So then when I got to college, I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn everything I need to learn because I'm making my major.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, they expected me to know so much, and I was like, they'd be like, okay, set up the C stand. Okay, try this. And I was like,
Yeah.
and some people in our class, on top of it, some of us were like, it was like,
What?
yeah, like it was two sides of the spectrum. It was people who were doing this since they were like in middle school, like you, and then
Yeah.
other people was like, we thought we were gonna learn that here. What?
So yeah, no, I
So
get you.
embarrassing.
I get you though, because it's like a lot of people go into school because they want to learn, and it's
Yeah.
not catered to that. Because sometimes it's like they just expect people who have been doing this for a while.
Right.
I survived it.
And you're still here. You're still working.
Still working.
Did some recent cool thing.
Yeah.
Kaisana.
Oh. Yes, I was
Mhm.
a PA, and I was on like first team. Some women feel like competitive with other women in the industry. They feel like, oh, only so many women can be in this spot, and I feel like that sucks. But I experienced that, and this girl was just telling me weird stuff, and like I rendezvoused with Kai to walk him up to set, and you know I got to meet him. I just said, oh hey, like I'm gonna be here helping you today, like let me know if you need anything. He was super nice. He wasn't like weird or anything. The one person who was a little weird was like Kim Kardashian, but also we're not a union set. It was non-union, so I could see her iffiness about working with people who might not be the most professional. But yeah, like I met him, it was cool, and then I was like running waters, and then like I was gonna say like, hey, like I'm gonna run waters to the crew, and then this girl who was like again competing, she was like, oh, you should ask the second AD if I should run waters to the crew. Usually you don't ask that.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think. And again, it's like that insecurity. I wasn't really experienced. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was like, okay. And in my gut, I was like, I don't think I need to ask him, but she's so much more experienced than me, and maybe I should. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, do you think it'd be okay if I like run waters to the crew? And he was like, why are you asking me that? Like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. It's someone told me to ask you, and I thought it was weird too. But here I am. And he was like, yeah, you don't need to ask me for permission
You're
to
like,
do that.
now I'm just mad.
Just like, damn, okay, sure. It was his little promo for his streaming marathon.
Oh, Mafia-thon.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
I mean-
tapped in.
Oh, I mean, is it Mafia?
She's
Mafia
tapped
vet?
in. Not the coolest thing I worked on though.
Tell us about the coolest thing.
I'm under an NDA. I don't know if I can
Oh.
speak about it now that we've finished filming. I got the privilege of working on a DC show.
That's fun.
Yeah, and I was on there for a couple months. I wasn't staffed or anything. I was just an additional, but they kept bringing me back. I was a frequent additional.
Wow.
So they wrapped in July. Went to the wrap party. It was so much fun. Got all my photos with my buddies and friends and crew. Period. I was so afraid, and shout out to my bestie Jade. She was like the first person I met on set, and I was so nervous. Like you never get over nerves like being on a big set like that. And I was on like a North Face commercial beforehand. So I was like literally the day before.
Wow.
I was on it was supposed to be a 3-day shoot. I was on for 2 days. I get a call from my godfather. Shout out Kyle DeShazo.
Shout out Kyle.
Shout out Kyle. I get a call from him and he's like, "Hey, I have a thing. Like, can you work tomorrow?" I was like, "Yes." So I left. I went. I worked a day. I got called back for like the next week, and then they kept calling me back, and it was so lovely. And Jade, I like went up to her and I was like, "Hey, like I'm like new, like I'm green. I don't really know, like, so if you could just like help me out." And she was like, "Of course. Oh my god." And then found out she knew my sister. Like they met briefly for like a split second on the set of Thunderbolts.
Wow.
And so she like was like my mama bear on set. She gave me so many great like advice and opportunities. We did a day together, just us, on a splinter unit. And she is like literally the best person ever. And she like took me under her wing. And that's what I love about some people. They're so adamant on like teaching you. Some people don't have the patience. She really put me out there, learned so much things. I learned like, you know, how to talk on a walkie because that's very hard.
Yes. It's
very hard to keep up. I did not know how to hear the walkie half of the time. I'm like, what is it? What did they say? I would be the only person to be like, "Hey, can you like go again?" There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I would get confused when they tell me to like do lockups. So like, go to the blue, and I was like, the blue. What does the blue mean? And the key, Julia, would just see me like walking in the opposite direction. She's like, the blue screen, all the way at the end of the road. All the big, we call it the big blue. It's big and blue. Can't miss it. And I was like, oh yeah, of course, that's what you meant. Sorry, I was just like looking around, you know, having fun.
Right.
So embarrassing, but you know, you live and you learn, and it's like everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody does.
Everybody. They know that. So it's like they're not gonna get pissed off you. Maybe if you like almost kill someone, they'll never call you again.
I love hearing the stories. Like I was like imagining it as you were saying it.
Really?
Yeah, I literally was. 'Cause I was like, I feel like I'm literally living.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Do you like have like moments where you feel like you're going insane in those periods where you're not working, like feeling lonely or feeling like
I've been like depressed, I think.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love staying home and doing nothing. Like,
Same.
you know, this whole world revolves around money, so it's a lot of it has to do with money. It's like, oh my god, I have no funds. But it's like, I don't want to just do something that to do it. Like, I would love to work on something that furthers my career, and I'm making a lot of connections. It's definitely like intensive labor, but I just wish like someone would call me back. I know there's a couple things shooting in LA, but it's so hard to get a job because there's only a couple things. Obviously, they're gonna choose the people that they know and that they have experience working with versus someone who's kind of new, doesn't really know what they're doing. Because I think I've only been doing it for like a year and a half now, like really well. So
And I was like talking to my friend about that, like on the last season, because she's an actress, and she was talking about that too, where she's like feels like she'll get into these really low places, like when she's not booking something, because then she'll start like doubting her worth again, or she'll be like, how, like, is it possible to still like make a living from this? I feel like sometimes I question that too, and I feel like that's why I pulled away from it a lot, because I'm like, this is giving like
I know.
Like I can't.
I think it's hard because it's like I will open up about a huge loss that I experienced recently. I did a music video for my boyfriend. And that was like when, you know, hopefully like people can see this and be like, oh, that's really cool. I want her to direct my music video. So I got an opportunity and someone reached out to me and I gave them a budget of like $5K, which is really small for a music video. I mean, for like independent artists, maybe it's like, you know, pretty up there, I'd say, even if you're fronting the money yourself. But I got an opportunity. I was so excited. I was so hyped. I spent so much work like developing a concept and whatnot and like getting really excited. And I put together a crew and we got the dates together. And it just fell through. Like, I don't think the artist could do it. And I loved their music. It was so good. And I would listen to it like on the regular because it's like music I would listen to. So I was really excited for this opportunity. And I was like, that's just one more thing to add to my reel that I can show people that I did this. And then it's just like sometimes things don't happen. And I think the biggest thing you can learn in the film industry, unfortunately, is how to deal with rejection. You know, it fell through and they said that, like, oh yeah, maybe we could do it like later this year when I come back, because they were going overseas. And I was just like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I would love to work with you. I don't know, maybe the budget was too high for them. Maybe they weren't confident in what I thought would be a good music video. I can't like evaluate my worth through like whether or not something works out. Like it has to be like, I have to be confident in myself. I have to believe in myself. And I know that the time will come when it's right.
Yeah. And
So.
like what's meant to be for you, like everything will come together. But I think it's like it's good to acknowledge still like those feelings of like, dang, I was so excited for this, or I was looking forward to this, and like
Yeah.
I was, yeah, like so that you can like process that, so that when the next thing comes you can be like, okay, even though I didn't get that last thing, like this could be something.
To look at it in a positive light. Okay, maybe that was like a door being closed, so like a bigger opportunity comes around, you know? I mean, like next time my dad was like, you need to put together like a insurance fee that if they do cancel on you last minute, you still take some of the money. And I was like, I do, but it's like I don't, you know, I'm still at the point where I feel like I'm like pretty new at this and I'm still building relationships, so I don't want to sacrifice anything for the sake of money, you know?
Right. I have those moments of doubt too where I'm like, I don't have like enough experience to just be like making like requests like that, or like
demands.
But it's like
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like someone will respect your worth if you do put it out there.
Exactly.
And if they don't, then y'all are just not aligned.
And it's just like, if there's any last words that I would want to say to people who are like trying to make it in the industry, or trying to just find a way or see if something works for them, but they're too afraid, it's like, in the simplest way possible, it's going to sound so redundant, but like, don't be afraid, because that means they win. And it's like, I love nothing more than proving someone wrong, because I am so stubborn and I'm so like strong about being like, no, I'm not what you think I am, and I'm going to prove it. And that's like kind of the fire that drives me. So it's just like, I want people to push past it, even if it gets hard. Like, don't let anyone tell you like what you're worth. Like, decide your own worth. Don't let a man determine that. Don't let a woman determine that. It's up to you to put your worth in yourself. Women!
We can do anything.
We could do anything.
Defying gravity.
Literally. I'm through with
playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late to go back to sleep.
Wake up, bitches. Oh. I said I was going to keep it family friendly. I love you so much, and thank you for having me.
I love you too. Thank you for
such
coming
a good
on.
talk.
This was so good. You made it great. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you, girl. Like, I'm glad I could end it with you, and I'm glad you could share your confidence and your vulnerability and everything that you've pushed through.
I'll give my boyfriend a little shout out. Shout out, Ivan. Love you.
Ivan.
Love you. Shout out all my women in the industry. Shout out my cousin for being an amazing actor. Shout out to my other cousin, who's just like an amazing person all around, and I love her, and she's so gorgeous. Jessica, I love you.
Jessica down.
Love Jessica down. Any women who are struggling?
Yes.
Shout out you. That sounds so like
shout out you.
Shout out you. Period. Shout out you.
Thanks, girl.
Shout out you, okay? Shout out Sophie for putting this podcast together, for being a total girl boss. How many episodes have you had in this season?
This is the 20th one.
20 episodes, girl?
Yes!
There you go, period.
Her.
Shout out you for doing 20 episodes. That's a lot. High five. Girl,
they
you
say,
crazy
like,
for
once
that.
you do 20, that you're, like, locked in. That most people quit if they don't make it to 20, because they're, like, once you do 20, it's like you feel more like I need to continue. When you do less than 20, you're just like, I'm done.
Okay, well then this is
Mark.
We will be back. Next time you'll be interviewing Kat.
Yeah! I'm like, Kat, tell me.
What
was that name like without me?
Oh. He's gonna be like, who?
I'm like, you remember her, don't act all famous.
Like,
He's
yes.
like, right. However he talks. But
trying to mimic it. Shout out the mosquitoes that have been
Oh my god, your arms! I feel so bad.
eating us up for the last 80 minutes.
Legs gone. But I had this like up for like 30 minutes. I don't know how I look.
We so sweet, even the bugs want to kiss up on us.
The bugs want us.
That's not saying much. That's not saying much. Cut the tape.
Cut that out. Cut the tape.
Cut the tape.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the season finale. If you resonated with something from this, please share it with somebody. Oh, what's she about to say? I'm scared. Make sure that you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts because we are not going away. I'm just taking a well-needed break. I realized that like after doing so many emotional episodes in a row, like you need to like make sure that you're okay. And I realized that and I was like, maybe I should do that. But I do want to continue to post on here, so make sure that you continue to follow. And if you want to re-listen to any of these podcasts, they're not going away even though I'm taking my break, so you can go back and re-listen and you can catch up. That brings us to the end of season 2. Bye everybody.
Bye.
See you next season.